Every few months, there is something new in skincare that we absolutely have to try, right? There is a new ingredient, a new miracle product, all of which is promising us clearer, healthier, more glowing skin. Now, the same has been said about French skincare, but is French skincare really worth the hype? Are the products really that much better? Is the French woman's approach to skincare really going to transform your skin? Well, in today's video, I am going to share with you everything that I have learned about the French approach to skincare, about the products that they use and the treatments that they use, and I will give you that information and let you decide whether or not you think French skincare is absolutely worth the hype. But I promise you that some of what you're going to learn today is probably going to surprise you. Hello, my name is Adrielle. I'm an American who lives in Paris, and I have been living here for about the past 4 years. And I absolutely love skincare. Nothing gets me more pumped than some skincare. And one of the things I often hear is people asking questions about French skincare. And I myself was very, very excited when I moved here to learn every single thing that I could about French skincare. And I gotta say, a lot of what I've learned has been quite interesting and frankly wasn't really what I expected or even what I'd seen or read about in a lot of magazines, blogs, etc. So that's why I am really excited today to share with you what I have learned. Now, just a quick disclaimer, everything that I'm about to tell you is based not just upon my own experiences, but also conversations with my French friends, my French boyfriend, my French boyfriend's family, his French friends, and then also some Parisian friends who may not be French, but who have been here longer than I have. So let's get ready and dive right in to the French approach to skincare. So let's start by talking about the French approach to skincare in general. French women care more about their skincare. They care more about the health of their skin, and there's less of a focus on makeup here, less of a focus on covering up imperfections. Really, French women kind of take the view of, I'm gonna take care of my skin, and then eventually I'm gonna look like an old maid. Now, I know that might sound cruel, but it is not. One of my French friends always says that. She says, oh my gosh, I'm already beginning to look like an old maid, but I'm still taking great care of my skin. And I say to her, but sweetheart, you're literally only 50 years old. What do you mean you look like an old maid? But that is very much the approach that they have to skincare here. They really care about the ingredients that are in their products, the health of their skin, and very little focus is really placed on makeup and covering up imperfections. So then how is it that French women take care of their skin before they reach old maidness? Well, first and foremost, they really focus on what are the ingredients in their skincare products. And we're gonna talk about that next. We have all seen those videos of women telling us exactly what we have to buy from the French pharmacy, right? They have baskets full of products, or they're doing hauls and they're telling us, you need this, you need this, you need that. But here is the thing, and this is something you learn once you start to live here. Most French women would absolutely never be caught buying or putting the stuff at the French pharmacy on their face. What? Yes, most French women, most Parisians, I've heard this from countless women who have told me that they believe that a lot of the products in the pharmacy are actually the bargain basement of beauty products. They just don't consider them to contain quality ingredients. Let's take Caudalie, for example. I will never forget when Caudalie opened their Washington, D.C. boutique, and I went in there and started using their products. And when I tell you that I was receiving so many compliments on my skin, I was receiving nonstop compliments on my skin. Everyone was saying, Adrielle, your skin is glowing, it looks healthier, it looks more radiant, etc., etc. And so you would imagine my surprise when during my next trip to France, I went happily wandering into Sephora in Paris and was like, where's the Caudalie? Because obviously I want to buy it here because it's going to be cheaper. And in the US, it's a luxe product. The woman looked at me like I was insane and was just like, go to any old pharmacy for Caudalie. She could not possibly understand why I thought Caudalie was a luxury product. And even though it was a luxury product in the US, I soon learned on that day that Caudalie was in fact considered a French pharmacy product and most definitely was not considered luxe and most definitely would not be in Sephora. And that's when I realized that a lot of the skincare and beauty products that you find in the US that are considered luxe, particularly the French ones, are not actually considered luxe over here in France. Now you might be saying, well, Adriel, but you were getting so many compliments on your skin with those Caudalie products. Were they really working? Were they not? Well, yeah, they were working. But the reason they were working was because of the ingredients that were in the product. The EU and Canada have banned substantially more ingredients from being added to skincare products than the US has. I am not going to give you the specific number because I think the number could be a little deceptive because there are things on that list of banned ingredients in the EU and Canada that would never appear in skincare in the US, like gasoline, for example. However, the point is that the EU and Canada are really restricting the type of ingredients that can be found in skincare products substantially more than the US. So as a result, if you start using French skincare products, whether they be pharmacy or non-pharmacy, and you are accustomed to using American products, you are definitely going to see results simply because French skincare products contain better ingredients than most American skincare products. And that is unfortunately the reality of it all. Now, I do want to note though, that just because a product is French, just because it is a French skincare brand, that does not necessarily mean that if you buy it in the US or someplace else, it is going to be made with the same formulation as what it is made in France. The thing is, companies really do change their formulation sometimes across regions. Not all brands do, but some do. So it's just something that you're going to want to be mindful of when it comes time to shopping for French skincare products. I can say certain brands that I have researched and they do seem to be consistent across regions include Typology, Nuxe, La Rose, and of course, Caudalie. So those are a few where I have noticed that at least their formulations have remained consistent. But with that being said, you never quite know. But what's the verdict? The verdict is that the French skincare contains better ingredients than what you find in American skincare. So yes, the French skincare products, even the pharmacy ones, are worth the hype. But what about treatments? What about the way that French women are applying these skincare products? Is that different? Is that something that you can apply to your skincare routine? Well, let's talk about that. So even though French skincare products do in fact contain better ingredients than what you might find in American skincare products, I would not say that the way French women use those products and apply those products in their skin routines is actually better. In fact, I would say the opposite. In a country full of great products with really great ingredients, the French skincare routine I have found overwhelmingly is incredibly minimalistic and somewhat chaotic, at least in my opinion. I simply don't quite understand it. For me, I have spent a substantial amount of time researching skincare routines, researching the right order to apply skincare products, researching the right ingredients that are perfect for my combination oily skin. I have done all of that and I've enjoyed doing that. And for me, it is essential to kind of know those things if you want to maintain healthy skin. However, French women do not even apply sunscreen. Literally, I have had French women tell me, why do I need to apply sunscreen every day? And I'm just like, well, in case you don't know, the sun is the #1 cause of premature aging. So if you want to reduce your risk of aging prematurely, you absolutely have to wear sunscreen every single day, even if you are inside. No, most French women here don't do that. And the thing is that they express total shock sometimes when I explain to them my 5-step daytime routine or my 4-step evening skincare routine, they look at me like in such horror. Whereas their view is like, oh, I wash my face, I put on a little moisturizer, and then I'm done. No, you're not done. Anyway, the sunscreen is just one example, but if you want to hear about some more culture shocks that I experienced from the French beauty perspective, I've done a video on that and I'll make sure I link it in the description, and you should definitely go check that out. When it all comes down to it, I would say that while each French woman takes her own unique approach to skincare, of course, generally, overwhelmingly, the way that French women use the skincare products that they have is incredibly minimalistic and frankly is not necessarily in any way revolutionary or better than what you may already be doing. In fact, in my opinion, is just something that's gonna frankly result in premature aging, and I don't know, maybe that's what you want, but personally, I'm trying to look like a little baby forever. So, since the way that French women use the skincare products that they have here isn't necessarily better than what you might already be doing, this may make you wonder, well, what about the treatments? The treatments that French women are using, are those somehow revolutionary, that they're going to give me something, some magical, appearance and look for my skin? Again, I'm actually gonna say probably not. The French approach to skincare definitely prioritizes treatments, okay, but particularly facials. However, I have always found myself to be really disappointed with a French facial. I don't quite know what is happening in a French facial, but all I can say is that it is, for me, drastically different than what I'm used to in the US. Essentially what they do is they massage your face, and there's a lot of rubbing of your face and movements of your face, and all of it to me is done in a way that it's just going to give you wrinkles. And you know what? I'm going to actually call upon my trusty volunteer to give you a little demonstration of what I mean by odd rubbing of your face. One moment, please. Okay, so I have my trusty assistant here, Mr. Smog, who is not pleased about what's happening at the moment. Come back, Mr. Smog! Come back! Come back! My assistant doesn't want to cooperate, but we're gonna still try to. Show yourself, Mr. Smog. Show yourself. So this is what they do. These weird facial massages. Mr. Smog did not like his moment in the spotlight, clearly. Anyway, my question though, whenever I get a French facial, when they're rubbing all over my face and agitating and frankly, as far as I'm concerned, making the skin looser, I just sit there and I think, where are the extractions? Where is the steam? Where is, the treatment part of the facial? But the thing is, here in France, extractions actually, to perform them, it requires a very specific degree. Like you have to have very specific training and whatnot. So a lot of facial places, since they don't have that, you then can't get extractions from those places. So as a result, in my opinion, the French facial as it is really not something that's super worth it. Now, with that being said, there are a lot of treatments that are coming from other countries, and those are actually ones that I generally want to try. For example, like the new LED treatment for the light therapy for the skin. I really want to try that, and that's one of the things that is just now starting to arrive in France. But really, most of the cool treatments that you're gonna wanna try, skincare and whatnot, those are coming from other countries. They're not actually being created in France. So, what's the verdict when it comes to skincare treatments, and particularly the French facial? I really don't think it's worth the money, actually. So what's the verdict? Is French skincare really worth the hype? Well, when it comes to the skincare products, I would say absolutely 100%. They are definitely worth the hype. I found that most French skincare products just really contain much better ingredients than what you're gonna find in standard American skincare products. That even includes what you're gonna find in the French pharmacy. Those products are just made with better ingredients. Part of that is due to regulation. Part of that is just due to the fact that these companies know that that's what's important to women. So as a result, they're just using better ingredients. Now, however, that's where I'm gonna have to say the hype has to end. I certainly don't think that the way that French women apply the products that they have is in any way revolutionary. And I certainly don't think that any of the treatments like the facials that you might get here are going to just transform your skin. I really do think that the hype should be reserved solely for the products and less for kind of everything else. So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I definitely look forward to reading your comments and engaging with you in the comment section. So definitely make sure you let me know any of your thoughts down there. And definitely let me know, if you have a different perspective from your experience living in France or, hanging out with your French friends. I would always, of course, love to hear that as well. Thank you so much again. Talk to you later. Bye.